They trying to make it to the pearly gates to get the ass ate. Titans of Shonen, gods of Mecha. For decades, anime has been a battleground not just for characters but for the entire series. These are the debates that fuel conventions and flood comment sections, and today, you're settling them. Welcome to Anime Verzuz, where we pit fictional rivals in anime against each other in a head-to-head battle for the crown. In this edition, we're hosting a multi-genre showdown. These aren't death battles, folks, for which verse is stronger or who would win in a fight. Just a simple show versus show showdown. Which one is better? But I won't give the verdict. You, the audience, are the real judge and jury. I'm simply the presenter. So get those keyboards ready. Today, it's a war on all fronts. So, ladies and gentlemen, grab yourselves a seat, prepare your judgments, and welcome to my anime lounge. First up, a clash of ultimate underdogs, both born without a drop of magic in a world that runs on it. In one corner, from Mashal, Magic and Muscles, we have Mash Burn Dead, a young man who confronts the magical elite with nothing but his bare hands and deadpan expression. He enrolls in a prestigious magic academy with a simple plan: punch his way through every magical obstacle until the world is forced to acknowledge him. In the other corner is Will Surford of Wisteria Wand and Sword, who also enters a magic academy as a complete magicless nobody. But where Mash is a parody, Will is a classic hero. He wields a single sword and fights with grit and determination, desperate to keep a childhood promise and prove that his hard-won skill can stand beside the natural-born talent of the mages who scorn him. It's a fundamental battle of tones. Mashal is a gag comedy that hilariously breaks its fantasy world for laughs. Wisteria is an earnest, dramatic adventure that respects the rules of his world and focuses on the struggle to find a place within it. So who's the superior underdog? The one who shatters the system for a punchline, or the one who bleeds to earn his spot within it?
どいてくれ。ザコザコ言ってますけど、僕はまだ僕より強い人見たことないんですけど。
Next up, oh, this is a good one. A war of giant robots and even bigger ideas that defined a generation of mecha anime. In one corner, it's Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, a pure uncut shot of adrenaline and passion. This is a show built on the philosophy of fighting spirit, where willpower itself is a weapon that can rewrite the laws of physics. It follows Simone, a timid digger who, inspired by his brother, uses his drill to pierce the heavens, leading a rebellion fueled by raw emotion and the belief in humanity's infinite potential. In the other corner, we have Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion, a masterclass in grand strategy and moral ambiguity. Exiled Prince Lelouch Britannia leads his rebellion not with passion, but with cold, hard intellect. He treats war like a chessboard, manipulating allies and enemies alike with his brilliant tactics and the power of his Geass. His goal is a noble one, but his path is paved with deception, sacrifice, and the unwavering belief that the ends always justify the means. This is a clash between blazing passion and chilling intellect. Does your loyalty lie with the burning, defiant spirit of Simone's drill, which screams that you can do anything, or do you follow the cold, calculating logic of Lelouch's chessboard, which whispers that victory comes at any cost?
Lagann! Impact!
やめろ、俺に
俺に押し付けるな。罪を償えと背負い込めというのか。俺が。
Now for a tale of blood, brotherhood, and the kind of betrayal that only comes from deep shared history. We're diving into the criminal underworld into two very different mafia tragedies. In one corner, we have the anime classic Gungrave. It begins with two nobodies in the street, Brandon Heat and Harry McDowell, friends so close they're practically brothers. Their shared ambition leads them to join the Millennium Crime Syndicate, and we watch their decades-long rise through the ranks. It's a sprawling, almost operatic tragedy, where the corrosive nature of power slowly poisons a powerful friendship. Brandon remains the stoic, loyal enforcer, while Harry's ambition curdles into a ruthless hunger for absolute control, eventually setting them on a catastrophic collision course. It's about watching the strongest bond you can imagine disintegrate over time. In the other corner, we have a story that's less of a slow burn and more of a lit fuse. The Prohibition-era thriller 91 Days. This isn't about rising through the ranks, it's about tearing them down from the inside. Angelo Lagusa's life is destroyed when his family is brutally murdered, God damn it, by the Mafia. Years later, he returns under a new name, a ghost driven by a single, all-consuming purpose: revenge. He doesn't just infiltrate the family that wronged him, he becomes their confidant, their most trusted ally, all while meticulously plotting their downfall. It's a cold, calculated, and deeply personal vendetta where every smile is a lie and every handshake is a step closer to annihilation. This is a showdown of scope and motivation. Gungrave is a sprawling, almost operatic tragedy about the disintegration of a powerful friendship over time. 91 Days is a tight, laser-focused narrative about a man consumed entirely by a singular goal: vengeance. Which story hits harder? The slow burn tragedy of friends turn foes, or the explosive single-minded quest for revenge?
その子は俺たちを決して忘れない。生きてる限りな。こいつは神さんにガキができたんです。おい！
狭くなりやがって。
And now for a descent into darkness with two of the most celebrated dark fantasy epics. First, the undisputed pillar of the genre, Berserk. This is the deeply personal and philosophical.
Huh? English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
This is a deeply personal and philosophical story of Guts, the Black Swordsman, a man locked in a relentless struggle against a cruel, seemingly inescapable fate. The horror of Berserk is intimate and psychological. We witness Guts endure unimaginable trauma, betrayal, and loss, forcing him to fight not only demonic apostles from the abyss, but also the darkness within himself. It is a grueling, decades-long odyssey focused on one man's indomitable will to survive and defy the gods and demons who have marked him for sacrifice. It asks if a single human can truly forge their own destiny in a universe governed by causality. And its challenger.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the undisputed, the undefeated heavyweight champion of the world,
the modern cultural phenomenon who needs no introduction, Attack on Titan. It's about to be one-sided, isn't it? What starts as a desperate story of humanity's survival against monstrous titans evolves into a complex and brutal examination of war, freedom, and the cycles of hatred that define human history. The horror in Attack on Titan is societal and political. The enemy shifts from its external monstrous force to the horrifying revelations that the greatest monsters are, and always have been, other people. It becomes a sprawling epic that explores nationalism and inherited trauma on a global scale. The story isn't about one man against fate, but the entire nation's trapped in a self-destructive loop of violence, where heroes become villains and the fight for freedom leads to genocide. This is a contrast in scale and the nature of despair. Which dark fantasy is more compelling? Berserk's intimate and soul-crushing tale of one man's endless war against his personal demons and predetermined destiny, or Attack on Titan's grand, sprawling epic about humanity's inescapable self-destruction, where the true horror is the cycle of hatred we pass from one generation to the next.
All. Every last one. Aaron.
It's time for a clash of isekai kings building their own nation. In one corner, you have the one, the only, the Lord, the magnificent, sorcerer supreme, extravagant, omnipotent, legendary pimp pirate king Sand Hokage Lord Bone Daddy Ainz Al Goon.
That's why I'm the king around here.
Sorcerer King Ainz Al Goon from Overlord. Trapped in a new world as his powerful undead avatar, he builds the Sorcerer Kingdom through an iron-fisted absolutism. His method is pragmatic terror. He uses overwhelming force to crush his enemies and make terrifying examples of anyone who stands in his way. But the goal is a strange kind of utopia where all races are welcome and racism is abolished, primarily because in the eyes of the undead king, all living beings are equally insignificant. It's a nation built on fear, but also on ruthlessly efficient and impartial law. Ainz's subjects prosper so long as they obey, contributing to the glory and internal stability of his kingdom, an everlasting monument to his guild. In the other corner, we have the slime who stumbled into leadership, Rimuru Tempest. From that time, I got reincarnated as a slime. He forges his kingdom, the Jura Tempest Federation, not through fear, but through grassroots community building. His nation starts with a single goblin village and expands through charisma, diplomacy, and creating mutually beneficial alliances. Where Ainz demands submission, Rimuru offers cooperation, building his multicultural society through trade, shared goals, and the promise of a peaceful life. His government is modeled after a modern state and separated powers, and his military is a force for self-defense, not conquest. His goal isn't world domination, but creating a nation where monsters and humans can achieve coexistence and true prosperity. This is the ultimate battle of nation-building philosophies. Which path to power is more compelling? The absolute monarch who forges a flawless kingdom through fear and might, or the reluctant diplomat who builds a sprawling coalition through friendship and a shared dream of peace?
神の怒りに焼き貫かれてメギド始
至高なる力に喝采せよ。
Let's dive into the game world for a battle of legendary players. In one corner, we have the black swordsman Kirito from Sword Art Online. When the new virtual reality MMO Sword Art Online becomes a death game trapping 10,000 players inside, Kirito is forced to adapt and survive. In a world where dying in the game means dying in real life, he treats every encounter with the seriousness it deserves, obsessively studying enemy patterns and mastering the game's mechanics. His approach is reactive and survival focused. He's a warrior forged by necessity, wielding his rare dual blade skill not for glory, but to protect himself and the people he comes to care for. Every sword swing is a means to live another day. In the other corner, the unbeatable sibling duo Sora and Shiro from No Game, No Life. As the urban legend gamers known as Blank, they see the real world as a badly designed game with no clear rules. So when a god transports them to Disboard, a world where all conflict is resolved through games, they finally found their paradise. Unlike Kirito, they aren't just playing to survive, they play to conquer. Their method is proactive and psychological. Sora is a master of reading people and exploiting their emotions, while Shiro possesses superhuman intelligence, capable of processing trillions of possibilities in an instant. They don't just follow the rules, they bend them, treating games as layered puzzles of logic and human behavior to be utterly dismantled. This is a battle of survival versus absolute domination. Who are the true masters of the game? The lone swordsman viewed as a god in their game who excels through instinct and combat pragmatism? In a world of life and death, or the genius strategists who have never lost and plan to outsmart gods by treating reality itself as the ultimate game?
The fight to the death. That's fine with me. 'Cause I'm gonna kill him!
I was so right to bring those two here. I'm waiting for you. We'll have the best game ever. Bring all your friends along too.
For our next battle, we're heading into the deep end of degeneracy with two series that push the boundaries of satire and spice. First up, the show so controversial it was famously dropped by its own broadcaster, Interspecies Reviewers. In a fantasy world where every kind of monster girl runs a brothel, a human adventurer named Stunk and his elf companion Zell take it upon themselves to become professional critics. Their goal is to sample the services of every fantasy race imaginable, from elves and cat girls to cyclopses and salamanders, and post detailed, scored reviews at the local tavern. It's a comedy of absurd professionalism as the crew debates the merits of different species with the seriousness of a wine connoisseur, all while their angelic androgynous companion Crimvel looks on in perpetual embarrassment. It's world building through the most depraved lens possible. It's a show that makes you wonder, makes you reflect. What are you willing to do? Are you willing to change your sex to have sex? Are you willing to change your species to get down and freaky? They were willing to build their partners up. They were willing to go through the fires. They trying to make it to the pearly gates to get their ass ate.
Hey, get that nigga away from the mic.
To the pearly gates to get the seat.
And its opponent is a legend from the visual novel world Nukatashi. On the isolated Syrian island, a bizarre pervert law has been passed to combat a declining population, making lewd public acts mandatory for all citizens. Into this world comes Jinosuke, a proud virgin who believes in love before intimacy. He forms a resistant group called NLNS, No Love, No Sex, to fight back against the tyrannical horniness and restore normalcy to the island. This isn't just about being lewd. It's a full-blown rebellion story where the fight for modesty is treated like high-stakes shonen battles. Nugatashi is a blunt force satire, using its insane premise to explore the themes of conformity, freedom, and sex. This is a clash of comedic philosophies, which is the peak of degenerate comedy. The show that treats fantasy brothels like a Michelin star guide, or the one where fighting for the right not to be obscene is a revolutionary act.
それではホームルームを終わります。号令を起立。種付け。せい。でもどうして展開に？
展開にもスケベな店は
あるのかなってな。
Pearly gates to get the seat.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a wrap on today's round one massive multi-genre showdown. The stage is set, the arguments have been made, but the real battle is just beginning. Now the final verdict falls to you. Who are your champions? Was it Mash's raw muscle or Will's determined grit? Do you prefer Ainz's iron-fisted utopia or Rimru's diplomatic federation? Get down into the comment section and let the final war begin.
And here we go.
The library of anime is vast, and the rivalries are endless. So if this video does well, we can have more on the way. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next battle. Share with your friends or anyone who loves anime like us.
Tell your friends about me.
I'll see you all for the next anime Verzuz. I appreciate you all for watching, and as we always do when we close out, let's all raise a glass in the air. Here's to anime.
To get the seat.